Welcome to this week's edition of Taiwan Outlook. I'm your host, Chang. Since 1997, Taiwan has tried to be a member of the WHO. But for the past 10 years, Taiwan applied for the observer status of the World Health Assembly. But this year, for the first time, Taiwan tried to apply for the full membership of the WHO, but we did not succeed. So how do we explain this year's new approach, and what are the prospects for Taiwan's future in a few years? So to join us today is the Director General of the Bureau of International Cooperation, Ministry of Health, Dr. Chang. Welcome to our program.
Great pleasure, with pleasure to attend your session.
As we know that Taiwan this year adopted a new approach. On the one hand, we use the name of Taiwan to apply for the full membership. And unlike in the past, we apply for the full membership of the WHO. How do you explain this year's new approach?
Well, based on the constitution of the WHO, all the states, all the nations are qualified to be a member of the WHO.
Yeah.
But in 1997, when we started to apply for get access to the WHO, I think we, by that time, was a little bit humble, was not so confident about our identity. I think that has always been a problem. But in 1997, when they decided to do this, I think they were a little bit humble, and a little bit too much humble.
Yeah.
And the other idea is that, well, if we try to be moderate, to be humble, maybe get much higher opportunity to be observer in WHA.
That's right.
But that strategy proved to be a failure.
Yeah.
That strategy proved to be wrong. And so I think after 10 years, 10 years is a long time. 10 years, 10 times is not a single issue. It's a long consideration. I think this year the government decided to apply for a full member. I think it's correct in a strategy, and correct in mentality, and correct to the constitution of the WHO.
But as far as I know, we also adopt the other two approaches as well. On the one hand, we are also seeking for the observer status, and we are still, welcome the idea of meaningful participation together with the full membership. Are we taking multiple approaches in terms of getting into the WHO?
Well, I think what we are trying to do is actually following the constitution of the World Health Assembly. WHO was established in 1948, and Taiwan, by the name of Republic of China, was actually one of the founding members of the WHO.
That's right. So
actually we know WHO more than many other of the members in the world. Well, we've been out of the WHO or out of UN since 1971 or 72.
Yeah.
So when we reconsider we should be a member of the WHO, I think we were following the constitution of the WHO very much. And within the rule of procedure of the WHO, that if some member state apply for a member, during the period, because the decision cannot be made immediately, there was a grace period of time that the Director General of the WHO can invite the member, the candidate, to be observer to one of the World Health Assembly. So these two things, the full membership and observership, was actually compatible to each other. And the meaningful participation actually is including everything.
Yeah.
So the Taiwan's interest to get to the WHO is we want to be a responsible member of the global health security. And to the WHO, we want to be a meaningful participant. Means that we want to contribute. We want to be receptive. We want to receive the information and share with all the others. So I think these three elements actually is comparable with each other.
Yeah, but you say that this year it's a big shift from the previous approaches. Not only we change the approach by not only apply for the observer status, but also to be a full member. But on the other hand, we also use the name of Taiwan this time. How do you explain the shift of this policy?
Well, maybe I can try to explain the name issue first. I was in WHA for 9 times, within the 11 times. And every time when people talk about Taiwan, they always say Taiwan. Taiwan want to be an observer, Taiwan want to be this and that, Taiwan's health authority. They always use Taiwan. Sometimes we ask some of the ally countries to say us as a Republic of China, but most of the time, even United States, European, Japan always call Taiwan as Taiwan. They never call Taiwan as the other names. And even China, the People's Republic of China delegate in the World Health Assembly, they didn't agree we want to be observed, but they always say Taiwan's health authority. So with this, whoever in the World Health Assembly always call us Taiwan. So I think this year we use Taiwan's as a name to apply is really reflect, also respect others' recognition, us as a Taiwan.
So it doesn't mean we change the official title of this country?
I don't think at all in the international arena. Everyone calls us Taiwan. I mean, they never use other strange names. I mean, only us sometimes confuse us, use different names. But they call us Taiwan. And I think in Taiwan, we like the name Taiwan. And so globally, Taiwan is a well-recognized name. You can call it a brand name or whatever. So our country uses Republic of China, but sometimes Taiwan is much easier, can be accepted. So I think Taiwan is pretty natural, respecting the global trend.
This year, our president, wrote a letter to the Director General and asking her to consider Taiwan's application to join the WHO. But the DG, turned down our request and sent a letter back to our office in Geneva. How do you see the way they handled this issue?
Well, I think the Director General, the Hong Kongese lady, the Canadian and Chinese hybrid lady, she was first year in her turn. And she actually went through a very difficult campaign for her election as a Director General. So I think she is a little bit inexperienced in handling Taiwan's case. Well, I believe Taiwan has more experience than her in handling our access to the WHO. So, and she also reshuffled her cabinet completely. So I think she is trying to find a way to solve the Taiwan's issue. And the way she returned or sent back the data in very unofficial way, not through official channel, I think it's a little bit childish. I would say that. Well, maybe we would like to be tolerate to get her some opportunity to become. But I think everyone in the group would see her behavior to turn back the data and in such a way a little bit childish.
But as we know that some people criticize her for being having some bias against Taiwan because of her Chinese background. So some people say that it's not just because of inexperience, but also because of her Chinese background. So what she's doing was listening to leadership in Beijing and how to handle the issue of Taiwan. Do you think that's the case?
I quite agree with this observation. And she was one of the very few Director General supported by one member state. And that member state doesn't have very strong support or very strong infrastructure in global activities, global diplomacy. I mean, People's Republic of China. So when she was sponsored by China to become a Director General, she faced very unique situation, not like her former predecessor, like Japanese one or the Korean or the Norway or the Canadian, and I'm talking about all the nationality of the former DG, because when those DG was elected, they were fully supported by a strong member like the United States, EU or Norway, Japan, this country. But unfortunately, she was elected by China, and China was not very active in global health activity yet, and they just haven't got developed that kind of capacity. So DG was in such awkward situation. She cannot count on China's global health performance to represent herself. She needs something else, and she started to look at United States, Japan, and EU to support her to be an outstanding DG, which suppose everyone want to be in that situation. And unfortunately, her supporter, the backup, is not from a very strong one.
But if that's the case, the prospects for Taiwan's participation in the WHO will be in trouble because she will continue to be in that position for several years.
I think it is in a transition, and I am not quite sure that's going to be to a stereotype. She is using that approach to handle the Taiwan issue yet. because her mandate is to be a leader of global health.
Yeah.
And if she couldn't deliver that leadership, she would be a failure. And everyone would look down at her, not only at her, but also look down at the leader being elected, supported by China. So if she fails, she will fail herself, she will fail China. And it is not China is going to judge her performance.
Yeah.
It is global health community to look at her. And so she will be in a very difficult situation. And we certainly look at her that she might be growing up to outperform her expectation. But I think we have to look at how things are evolving in the near months.
Yeah. But another structural problem that Taiwan is facing is the so-called secret memo of understanding between the former DG, South Korean DG, and the Chinese authorities, which stipulates that Taiwan's participation in the international health activities should be approved in some way by the Chinese authorities. How can we overcome this structural problem?
The MOU signed between China and the former Director General, Dr. Li, was unfortunate, was very, very unfortunate for many of the people, not only to Taiwan. The MOU was kept secret between former DG Dr. Li and China. Very few people, even United States, Japan, knew what's going on until it was released. It was leaked out by some of the officers in the WHO. And I can tell you some of the detail about this MOU. The MOU asked WHO if they want to interact with Taiwan. They would never recognize Taiwan as a sovereign unity. Okay, the second one, if Taiwan want to attend some of the technical meeting operated by the WHO, they need 5 weeks in advance that they have to send information, the person to WHO. WHO will send to Beijing to get approval and get back to Taiwan.
Approved by Beijing?
Approved by Beijing.
Okay.
So Beijing was monitoring and controlling, manipulating WHO in this regard. The other element is the MOU is that if there was any Taiwanese expert attend some technical meeting in WHO, there got to be one delegate from China sit in the same room, same table. If that gentleman or that lady couldn't come from Beijing, they would dismiss the opportunity that Taiwanese can be a participant. And also, without formal approval permission, Taiwanese people can sit in the meeting but could not speak. And they would not be recognized as someone from. It will become like no one else. So in the past 2.5 years, when we saw this situation, our Taiwanese expert, we nominate the best scientists to attend some of this technical meeting in WHO. And we got fully humiliation coming back from on our scientists. And we find it's a shame. It's a shame not on our people, but also in WHO. They become a political body. They never talk about public health. They never talk about something really good for the health of people, but play politics.
But as we know that the reason why China began to allow Taiwan to participate in some of the activities was because the pressures from many countries, including EU countries, they are pressuring the WHO to allow Taiwan to participate meaningfully in many activities. So does the MOU violate some of the goodwill of those EU countries?
Well, actually, the goodwill of the EU is that they are fully convinced that Taiwan should be participant. They should interact with WHO because for global health security, you couldn't let Taiwan be out of this loop. Taiwan will be a problem itself to be all the members in the world. So EU and all the big countries like United States, Japan, and they support this idea from 2004 and 2005. And when China saw this trend is going, and WHO has opened the door for Taiwan to participate, China sent the MOU and pushed the former DG to sign it. So the DG was, I believe he was unwilling to sign it, but with China's pressure, he has to sign it. And unfortunately, 1 year later, he passed away. And so this become unfortunate and continue with unfortunate. And the current Director General has to inherit such unfortunate fortune on his organization.
But what are other countries' responses to this secret memo signed between the DG and China?
Originally, WHO and China want to keep it untold, but it was leaked out. Now, many countries, including EU member states and the United States, was very, very unhappy about this because this is unreasonable. If you want to offer a meaningful participation, a scientist in the global health conference, you couldn't ask this one that don't talk about health. It has to be expressed, and they want to hear about what's going on in Taiwan in public health. And this MOU was abolish everything.
Yeah. We know that it's in Taiwan's interest to join the WHO, but given the fact that Taiwan is not a member of the WHO now, so when we come back, we will talk about the costs of Taiwan's absence from the WHO for Taiwan and for international health community. So stay with us. We'll be back in a few moments.